You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Yes, here we are, still in Region 3 of OSHA. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I mean, it seems like nobody wants to take any responsibility for anything. Now, the big thing is ethical use of AI. Have you heard about this? Again, no, AI, obviously I use AI here, right? I tell you what, I got a whole bunch of AI promos coming out. You're going to love them. Right? It's cheaper, it's quicker, and everything else here. Now, cheaper than a lot of the other stuff. We use AI, everybody uses AI for clips, for information. Now, some people say, hey, we just use it as a fancy Google or a fancy search engine. Problem comes, and I've seen this with generative AI, with when government officials use them. What are we talking about? We're talking about officers of the court, aka attorneys. There's several different kinds, I understand, but attorneys and judges, who are attorneys. So, it's one thing. Let's say that you're doing you're paying an attorney a lot of freaking money to do whatever they're doing, right? And then they go over to AI, and they write the whole thing, whatever it is, on AI, and the danger is that with AI in the legal sense, and I don't know. I'm sure that there are reliable AIs and there's ethical use of AI, just like in anything else out there. But in the court context of court, hold on, I gotta sneeze. Hold on. Hold on. You know what? We're gonna go right off the bat. We're hang on. Let me put on some music here. But anyway, yeah, sorry about it. I had to sneeze. I thought I had to sneeze at least. I mean, I had this nice, delicious ginger chicken dish tonight. It's a little warm, but anyway. But, you know, you pay these people a lot of money. Now, and you know, in the safety field, I mean, if you've been experienced with using the safety field, sometimes it just gives you wrong info. And in the legal sense, what we're finding out is that it's like making up court cases to prove a point, right? So it's sort of like, I had a boss who was famous for this. He would go and he'd just start saying things, and then he'd say, well, don't you know it's in 1910, 186, that it says X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And of course, back in the 90s, you didn't have, unless you walked around with a copy of the federal regulations in hand, you could never double check the guy and see what, and it sounded very authoritative. Well, under this, blah, 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 and under this, blah, blah, blah. Right? It's almost like the AI is doing that, whereas quoting legal cases just to prove a point, thinking that nobody's going to go and Google something, no one's going to go and check things out, and no one knows right off the bat, hey, you're freaking wrong. But you sound very convincing, right? That's a lot like what's going on here. Which is scary on another level because they're starting to act like human beings. Here we have judge accused of using AI. This is from futurism.com, but it's on multiple websites out there behind paywalls. So this is judge accused of using AI to issue a garbled ruling. And earlier this month, a federal judge of Mississippi delivered a ruling that was riddled with factual errors, from naming plaintiffs that didn't exist, to making up quotes from state law, to citing cases that don't appear to exist. As Mississippi Today reports, U.S. District Judge Harry Wingate's baffling temporary restraining order immediately raised concerns that it had been generated by AI. We've already come across plenty of instances of lawyers getting caught red-handed using tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT to generate AI slop that gets called out in the factually focused world of the courts. However, seeing an appointed district judge be accused of essentially the same thing should raise some serious red flags. Judges have previously doled out fines and sanctions to attorneys who get caught using AI. I had no idea that they could do that. I thought, a good dress down and maybe calling them stupid might be enough, but apparently not. Judges have previously doled out fines, but nobody seems to know with any degree of certainty what will happen when that dynamic flips on its head, like a judge doing this. Worse yet, Wingate eventually replaced the errors-ridden order with a corrected version, which still cites a 1974 case that does not appear to exist. Yikes, lawyer Eric Wasson tweeted. To rush to issue orders like this undermines your judiciary. Like they needed help to be undermined? Really? Yeah. Well, Lawyers had initially asked Wingate to clarify the restraining order, which pauses enforcement of state law that prohibits diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in public education, leading to Wingate issuing a correction. The original version listed the Mississippi Library Association and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated as plaintiffs, which have never been involved in litigation and don't even have any cases pending anywhere whatsoever. Our attorneys have never seen anything like this. Wingate has yet to publicly comment, but the evidence is damning. Right? Who knows it? Basically, the judges got to... it's called ethical use of AI. It's... Now onto another unpleasant thing. Human trafficking. We know that there are hundreds of thousands of children involved in human trafficking, and adults also with this. Right? There's a hotel in my neighborhood that was named by a couple of them named by a local news source. I got to be careful here. As being one of the ones that's involved in human trafficking. The police know about it. The police are in there all the time and everything else. All right. So, and I was a little bit, how could I clean this up? I was working for a contractor that was giving a safety class. And I had to attend the safety class and present the safety class there. And it was a company that you've all heard of if you're in the safety industry. So I go in there, and Monday the class is fine. It's a 40-hour class. Tuesday the class is, okay. Wednesday comes around, and during the morning break of the class, maybe not a little bit later in the morning, like mid-morning, like 11 o'clock or so, we're down in the lobby, and we're having, there's a convenience store in the neighborhood. We run across, and, because I get in again, you think, I got to give up the soda habit. But anyway, I'm drinking a soda here. And there are people in the lobby that are going to be shooting a movie. You can figure out what this is. Shooting a movie in one of the rooms, and they're discussing choreography. And I'll say it's not exactly a dance type of thing. Well, in a sense it could be, but anyway, I digress. So this stuff happens a lot, right? And I said to the company, I said, they're using, this is like a well-known hotel where they do shameful things in it. Oh, no, it's cheap. It's cheap. Yeah, I bet it's freaking cheap, right? So, no, I didn't work for them for too long, nonetheless, because that should have been a leading indicator. Literally, I remember sort of naming hotels all through the neighborhood because what happens is they come out of New York City, and apparently they go up to Rockland and Orange County and away in Westchester County to do this. The other thing is, I mentioned on here, my wife's a professional event and meeting planner. Every hotel that they go into, and they have training classes for employees to pick out human trafficking. Every major hotel chain does this. My wife had to attend one of these courses for this a couple of years back. The other thing is this. One of the safety officers for a hotel that had a problem with this, that was well publicized about 10, 12 years ago, he was saying, dude, we have issues all the time that we're calling in. I said, really? I said, yeah. Oh, yeah. And let's not forget, all these unaccompanied, according to the AP, 300 children go missing. And where do we find them? And it was in a congressional record, and they were listening to this show, I bet, because I was the only one talking about this. Where are all these child, we have a story tonight, child labor violation. It's a very, very serious situation here. Now, why do I talk? We have a story here. And I'm going to ask this. There are stories in regional papers all over the top place on child sex rings being and human trafficking rings being broken. Up in Buffalo a couple months ago, a couple hundred people, they're finding people here, finding people there, all over several hundred, out there. So this is an actual problem in this country that does not get addressed with this, my opinion. And now being more aware and educating people more on this, I think, is important. But here we go. First, this is from the Daily Signal from today, but it's in several other regional papers. Combating human trafficking is a priority for the Trump administration's Health and Human Services Department, but the agency can't do it alone. That's why HHS partnered with state and local officials in Mississippi to carry out a 2-week human trafficking sting that leading to 72 felony and misdemeanor arrests and 29 victim rescues, 15 of them who opted to receive rehabilitation resources. We've been going after human traffickers, quote, it's from Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch. We've been going after human traffickers, sex offender registry, trying to make sure they're in compliance, and trying to get the drug dealers of fentanyl. We've had about 400 local, state, and federal law enforcement partners that have helped us in all these 5 different locations around the state. Operation Guardian Force ran from July 14th to 29th. That's this past week on Tuesday. Perpetrators were charged with crimes including human trafficking of a minor, child exploitation, prompting and procuring prostitution, 28 various felony narcotics charges, failure to comply with a sex offender registry, and felon in possession of a firearm. A runaway minor was rescued in southern Mississippi after her being trafficked from Louisiana. Traffickers are on the way to take her to Mobile, Alabama to be trafficked when authorities found her. And it goes on and on and on. There was a feature-length movie made on this that was called Absolute Propaganda by people. So, what was the name of it? The Dark Truth of Human Trafficking. Right? Taken, 2008. The Sound of Freedom, 2023. That's what I was thinking of. All this stuff. This is one of the things we have to combat in our society here. And I think it's another thing why everything's going to Woofno here. And, as usual, I come up with these monikers. I am tonight, right, the Woofno stirrer. You know what that means, if you're Polish. We're stirring up a lot of Woofno here tonight, right? All right. Now, we've been covering this story since about the time that an official report came out by New Mexico OSHA. Right, that's not the name of the agency, but it's New Mexico's OSHA here. And we were the only program that talked about this, and I'm sure we could go back in the archives and put together an extended program. This whole case here is, what case is that? Alec Baldwin and the Russ shooting. We were the only network, AFM Network was the only network, the show that went into in-depth with this. Everybody wanted to see the trial. Oh, Alec Baldwin is on trial. Blah, blah, blah. No, Helena Hutchins. Rest in peace, Helena. Right? Shot by Alec Baldwin. And then you had the Hannah Gutierrez-Reed and her boss. Well, what do we gather with this? All right? It's like this. If you are a safety professional, which is what an armorer is, basically a competent person, and your boss tells you, and even if it's in writing, not to have safety standards essentially. Not exactly those words. It was like, we're like our budget, blah, 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 exceeding the budget, and you need to go and, concentrate on the props, not so much on the guns. And then you respond back saying, we got to concentrate on the guns because when we don't, bad things will happen. And they're supposed to, according to industry standards, they're supposed to have daily safety meetings and trainings and all this other stuff. And the person and everybody involved, right? I know Alec Baldwin is in a couple of movies where I don't know if it was live guns, where they had guns. I'm sure that they had some type of safety thing. And they're like, he was in one of the Mission Impossible things. Everyone's supposed to know better here. And common sense says, when you have a gun, you do not point it at what you don't intend to shoot and kill. Or kill. Real simple. But knowing all of that, this still happened. The other thing is don't bring in live ammo with blanks. Right? And even if your boss tells you to ignore safety thing, if something happens, guess what? Your fault. There are a lot of other options that could have been... now, I'm not playing a Monday morning quarterback. But we all know that safety professionals have a problem with having backbone, a lot of them. They don't have backbone for a lot of reasons. Let's put it into context. If you say something, you're fired. If you don't say something, you're fired. If something happens, you're fired. If you're not out there, so for example, if there's an obvious safety hazard, you're not present because you're on the other side of the facility or something, a employee is not aware enough to fix something. If there's a process that, and you can look up Charlie Marcraft here, right, who was at a facility, the facility got hurt at. They knew about a process and decided not to fix it, but they came up with a procedure, which everybody knows people don't follow procedures. But they could have, rather than eliminating it, here's the procedure, and they know people who follow procedures led to his injury. With that, well, it's his fault he didn't follow the procedure, not the management's fault for not getting rid of the hazard. We all know that. Well, you're in there, you're a safety person, you get blamed for this stuff. As Jay Allen has stated, correctly, I might say, in the Safety Transmission Trilogy, available on Amazon, has stated that the system is only going to be able to take what it can take. The system cannot take your ideas, your criticism, whatever, bad things, consequences. They don't invite you to meetings, they ostracize you, they do crap behind your back, you name it. Very important book, by the way. You're still responsible if you're the safety person, no matter what. Well, safety didn't do their job. Oh, how about you didn't meet your budget? So that's safety's fault we didn't meet the budget. We're buying all this PPE and renting out air sampling equipment. Oh, yeah. Sound familiar? Should sound familiar to many of us out there. Unless you're living in some kind of, and working for some company that's empathetic, that knows what the hell's going on. This is very familiar. Jim, how come we went through 200 pairs of earplugs on that job and it cost us $65 for those 200 earplugs? Well, because you had like 50 people on the job for like a year. They need earplugs. They could have gotten more than one day out of those earplugs. Yeah, but look at how dirty and dusty and who cares? They could have rinsed those off, thrown them back in their ear. Yeah, I've heard that. Or how come they're using so many pairs of $2 safety glasses? Or we paid 97 cents for those safety glasses before pandemic. Oh no, that doesn't sound familiar. So here we have, out back to the case in Alec Baldwin. This is from the Associated Press yesterday. Judge dismisses lawsuit filed by Alec Baldwin for malicious prosecution in fatal set shooting. A New Mexico judge has dismissed a lawsuit filed by actor Alec Baldwin for malicious prosecution and civil rights violations in the 2021 fatal shooting of a cinematographer on the set of Western movie Rust. The judge in a ruling made public Wednesday dismissed the case without prejudice for lack of any significant action with the claim, which was filed in state court earlier this year. Baldwin's attorneys have 30 days to file an appeal, right, seeking reinstatement. Luke Nikas, Baldwin's lead attorney, called the Associated Press in an email that the dismissal amounted to a non-event since his team has been waiting to prosecute the case. We have been in good faith settlement discussions with the parties to the lawsuit and will be refiling promptly if those discussions are not promptly and favorably resolved. So it's like a negotiation tactic. Defendants include Special Prosecutor Carrie Morrissey and Santa Fe District Attorney Mary Kamak Altwise, along with 3 other investigators from Santa Fe County's Sheriff's Office. The charge of involuntary manslaughter against Baldwin was dismissed at trial last year on allegations that police and prosecutors withheld evidence from the case. Oh, I'm shocked. I bet if this happened to a normal person, I'm not, however we define that, and not Alec Baldwin, who has millions of dollars at his disposal, and I'm sure he was going to freaking break the bank here. He has a wife, a beautiful family, for all, except for a couple of things, involved in his divorce, like over a decade ago. I mean, the guy seems like a stand-up dude with his family. Seems like a very good father by most standards, right? Pretty good guy. I can tell you what, he was going to break the freaking bank staying out of jail here with this. And believe it, any one of us would do the same thing. It would have been like the Marv Albert trial, or I think it was the most back in the 1990s, where he was accused of something, and somebody then an attorney, Lionel, who is on WABC in New York, had mentioned at the time, this is probably the most expensive misdemeanor defense he's ever seen in his career, and probably one of the most expensive misdemeanor defenses in the history of American jurisprudence. But essentially, he would have broke the bank here. I mean, any one of us would be leaped here. Right. The trial was upended by revelations that ammunition was brought into the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office months earlier by a man who said it could be related to the killing of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The allegations in Baldwin's tort claim include defamation, with his attorneys saying that prosecutors and investigators targeted the actor and co-producer for professional or political gain. Hutchins died shortly, rest in peace, in October 2021 at a film set ranch. Right, Baldwin was pointing a pistol at Hutchins, and we could go into that. I mean, it's a horrible thing, what happened. The actor recently spoke to the Associated Press at San Diego's Comic-Con International, saying he couldn't believe what happened that day in court as the trial came to an abrupt end, that his life over the last year has been far better than the few years preceding it. Still, Baldwin and other producers are also being sued civilly in New Mexico State Court by the parents and younger sister of Hutchins. The court records show a deposition for Baldwin in that case was put off in May and has yet to be rescheduled. So, I mean, this is not over for him with this. If those allegations are true, the prosecutor's got a problem. Let me make a suggestion. Settle. Wow, we're already 26 minutes in. Unbelievable. Have you heard about this one? And we're going to play this. Right, because, right, Cincinnati assault. Hear lone 911 call after viral mob attack. Right? So let's hear this. I mean, really?
911, what is the address of your emergency?
4th and L, please.
Okay, can you repeat the address?
4th and L.
Okay, and what is your first and last name? And what's a good callback number for you? Can you verify it, please? Tell me exactly what happened.
Huh?
Tell me exactly what happened.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Tell me exactly what happened.
There's so much people acting crazy.
There's what's going on?
A few fights here and there, let's put it this way. Some people just acting crazy. Yeah.
So there's just people fighting outside, is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, they are.
Okay. And this is going on now, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Are you at that location now?
Yes.
Are any weapons involved?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
How many people are involved?
At this point, everybody's spreading out. So I was before, like by 20, 30 people, but everybody's obviously.
But everybody's what?
Everybody's walking away at this point.
So do you still need police to respond out if everybody's leaving?
Everybody's, yeah, some people are leaving, some people still here, yes.
So how many people are involved?
I think initially by 30, and we're down to about 5 or 10. They're still here, yes.
Is the disturbance physical or verbal?
Physical.
Does anyone need medical attention?
That I don't know. Possible, maybe not, maybe yes. I haven't really.
And where are the suspects now?
They all still run away.
They're where?
Run away.
So you keep saying they left. Do you need police to respond out?
I would prefer, yes. Absolutely, yes.
So how did they leave?
Huh?
How did they leave?
How did they leave? They ran. How about that? They ran.
What direction were they going?
They'll be down 4th and down the Elm. So 4th down to the 4th. My glasses are gone. My glasses are gone. Yeah.
Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses?
Okay, I need to get the person's description. Do you have descriptions of any of them?
For 20 people, no. But once you send those tips there, I'll talk to them.
Has anyone involved been using alcohol or drugs?
Excuse me?
Has anyone involved been using alcohol or drugs?
As far as I have no idea, I'm sure. But that's not it.
Alrighty, just do not approach the person. An officer will be dispatched as soon as possible. Do you want an officer to contact you?
Thank you.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
So, that's the 911 call here. I tell you, God bless that those operators on the emergency dispatch. I mean, you know, I don't know what to tell you, right? So this was courtesy of Fox News Digital. There was a violent 911 call involving at least 100 witnesses in downtown Cincinnati early last Saturday morning. A dazed sounding man called, I'd say that, called around. Right, FBI is going to be doing that, the audio, right? A dazed sounding man called authorities around 3 a.m. The call lasted 3 minutes and 15 seconds as the 911 operator asked a litany of questions, including how many people have been involved in the fight. It was placed after the brutal beatdown had ended, the caller indicated. At this point, everyone's running out, so it was before about 20 or 30 people, but everybody's out, the caller said. At the 1 minute and 30 second mark of the call, the operator asked whether police need to respond given that the fight was over. Some people are leaving, some people are still here. 911 operator asked several times how many people were involved in the fight, and then asked again whether the police are needed. So you keep saying they left. Do you need a police to respond? I would prefer yes, the man said. I would prefer yes, absolutely. The operator then told the man an officer would be dispatched as soon as possible. Out of the 100 or so people who were at the scene, the man was the only one to call 911. That's, that's a social commentary right there, right? That was according to the police chief, Teresa Teague. Teague. T-H-E-E-T-G-E. Teague? They have a photo of a victim here. That is unacceptable to not call the police, she said. The traffic was horrendous. People saw this. They were fighting in front of traffic. Why didn't people call us, according to the police? Why wasn't there any video of this is the other thing. City has been roundly criticized this week over its handling of the ball, which set the internet ablaze. Now, based on that 911 call, I cannot, and you know, I try to call these things balls and strikes here. There's no, I don't, I don't try to sugarcoat. I don't try to do anything. You know, I call balls and strikes here with this. I don't think that you can, after that's the information that they are getting on the news, getting on 911. I don't know. Now, as the guy called up and said, dude, there's 100 people out here brawling. You got yourself one hell of a mini riot. Blah, 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 blah. I think that they would have responded a little bit differently. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think so. And this teaches you a lesson also. When you call the police, it's what's going on. This is what's happening. I need police. This is the address. Blah, blah, blah. That's what you do. You don't go out there, maybe the guy was imbibing a little bit before this. Maybe he was smoking those funny cigarettes. I don't know. He sounded out of it. Maybe he was one of the victims. I don't know. Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Purell responded publicly late Monday after the meeting had been circulated for about 36 hours. He has been on vacation in Canada all week. Finally announced plans to cut his vacation short and return to the city on Thursday. A city councilman said on Facebook that the victims of the attack begged that beatdown. I don't know what her context is. I have no idea. In the video, the mob can be seen punching. Oh, so there was video. Stomping on two victims on the corner of 4th and Elm Street. I mean, this this reminds me of the old joke, right? Where someone calls up 911. This is before they had locators and caller ID and, call trace. And he said, oh, yeah, I'm having this emergency. Well, what street are you at? I'm on Sycamore Street. The operator says, well, can you spell that? He says, C-I-S-E, and he can't spell it. He says, I'll call you right back. I got to drag this guy down to Elm Street. So, yeah, old joke on that one. But this is like, they were on Elm Street, so it's like, even if you had to spell it, pretty easy to spell, 4th and Elm. One of the victims was knocked out cold. There were 2 arrests made in this, and on Tuesday, both faced felonious assault, aggravated riot, and assault charges. Yeah, riot, right? The person is being held on a $500,000 bond. The other one, $200,000. The third suspect is being held on $100,000 bond, charged with aggravated riot and assault. And again, according to the attorney for one of the people here, that video that we discussed yesterday has now been released of that individual slapping on my client and then the fight ensuing thereafter. And, saying not responsible, and there's a riot, and how do you know who hit who, and that sort of thing. But some people were charged, I guess, in absentia of some sort, meaning that they were not apprehended yet. I tell you what, you're a government official. You cannot go around stating, saying, well, they deserved it. What is the context? How many times do we go on our job sites, and it happened to me recently, where there is an incident and somebody writes up an accident report for it. They don't interview anybody. They don't go out there saying, hey, what's the context? They just write up an accident report. Well, I was a witness to it. Well, if you were a witness to it, why, no investigation. You didn't go like, you didn't get on the phone and say, hey, look, I was a witness to this. I don't really feel, I think it's like a conflict of interest sort of thing for me to be involved, which is normal. That happens. Hey, look, I'm too close to, maybe we need to bring in some outside people. That's great. But for somebody to write an accident report without actually doing an investigation is idiotic. And this is what the thing. Well, she deserved it. Well, okay, she slapped the guy, according to okay, that wasn't she slapped it. Does that give the guy, no, again, and I'll quote Jesse Ventura on this, the former governor of Minnesota. Right, he said this many years ago. He doesn't get it. I don't get the thing. Someone slapping you, and then it goes to death penalty. I don't get it. Right? Someone slaps you across the face. You have the right to use. My understanding, I'm not an attorney. Don't listen to me on this. But my understanding is that I have a right to use an amount of force. One is evade. Number two, it comes to the right, a reasonable amount of force to make this attack stop. Someone slaps you, that doesn't mean that you put them in the hospital for 3 days. Doesn't. Right? I don't get it here. I don't get what people's thinking is, unless they're worried about the old thing called respect. Well, now that respect might have cost you a couple of years in jail here, and and then that doesn't include the civil cases, which I'm sure are forthcoming. Here's another one, a little bit more positive. Trump signs executive order to bring back presidential fitness tests for kids. I remember doing this in school. President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday to revive the presidential fitness test for American school kids, rather than after a decade after it was discontinued. President Trump wants to ensure America's future generations are strong, healthy, and successful. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement to ABC News, President Trump wants every young American to have the opportunity to emphasize healthy and active lifestyles, creating a culture of strength and excellence for years to come. I mean, when I was in grammar school, they had a whole, my school didn't have it, but schools had an entire, like a competition, friendly competition among the students with this. And I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day was involved with this, in the leadership of this. Right. So this, what is it? Right. So this was the original test was issued in 56 under President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Typically featured 5 parts: a 1 mile run, pull-ups or push-ups, sit-ups, and a shuttle run. I forget what the shuttle run is. I don't recall. A sit and reach test, according to Harvard Health. It was replaced by with the Presidential Youth Fitness Program in 2012 to shift the focus from athletic feats to living an active and healthy lifestyle as part of the then First Lady Michelle Obama Let's Move initiative. I remember this. I tell you what, I didn't agree with President Obama on a lot of stuff, but I thought that was a very good idea on this. I got to compliment him on this because I tell you what, a lot of those competitions, they were just another way by a lot of kids to get bullied, right? Not that I was one of them, but you could see that happening. And with that, again, it's great to have a test, but it's sort of like this. No, you wouldn't think it's fair. You wouldn't think it's fair that you go to school and you have a test and you don't study, right? That's that you were never taught about, you never studied for it, and you weren't told about or anything. That wouldn't be fair. Why would that be a right thing? To go, no, with the physical fitness test, okay, well, rather than have a test, why don't we have a whole program, right? Which is what Michelle Obama is saying, have a whole program where we teach kids how to exercise properly, how to do this, how to do that. I've always thought that was important. I think gym is important. I'm not, my high school, where I went to high school, doesn't, last I checked, does not have gym anymore because it's not a requirement by the state of New Jersey. Yeah, you got that. We're going to go over to the White House wire. Let me do a share screen here. Right, so the White House has its own news service. They got rid of VOA, and they also got rid of the, what was the other one? Public broadcasting, sir, right? They cut the funding on that. I don't think that's been fully happened yet, right? But they will be. If they haven't already, they will be. So this is what we have. Make America Fit Again. And this is probably, right, story off of CNN talking about that, which we're not allowed to share here, right? And inside CIA plans for powerful AI game changer. This is from the Washington Times. Let me get this. I got to get this off of here. Come on. Again, I try not to show websites that are not government websites. And a pop-up ad came on. The CIA is preparing for a powerful artificial intelligence game changer to emerge and upend the spy business. CIA Deputy Director Michael Ellis told the Washington Times that it's still unclear when artificial general intelligence may arise. The agency is gearing up for it. Top researchers and technologists are striving to achieve this artificial general intelligence, which means developing AI systems that perform at least as well as human across cognitive domains. Then maybe we can get rid of judges, I guess. Mr. Ellis said such technology could particularly affect defenders and attackers in cyberspace and drones used in warfare. I think it does have a potential to be a true game changer if it emerges, and one that will fundamentally reshape the intelligence business, but national security more broadly. I tell you what, if this comes apart, you safety people, watch out. You're going to be out of a job. We're already getting out of a job here for a lot of this stuff. Okay. Let's take a break here, and we'll get back to you on this. Nothing wants to work today. The buttons do not want to work.
The safety war has begun. The risks are out there, lurking in every corner of the workplace, threatening our most valuable asset, our people. But we have a plan. Led by Jim Posel, we are the last line of defense in this battle against danger and negligence. We will fight for safety, for compliance, for the right of every worker to return home unscathed. Join us on this journey through the unknown, where vigilance is our weapon and knowledge is our shield. This is Safety Wars, our fight, our duty, our mission. Heard regularly on your favorite podcast platform as Safety Wars? Visit us at safetywars.com.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that is designed to actually address and assess your hazards and liabilities and is not standardized baloney from generations ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call me, Jim Posel, at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you are receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
Yes, Jessica, I am your father. So, we have up here the U.S. Census Bureau. The U.S. Census Bureau today, that's July 31st, released preliminary estimates for the Annual Integrated Economic Survey, which provides key measures of economic activity. So, for all those 1 in 458 people that were out there who answered this survey, they came out with the data today. And everyone knows my opinion on this. I have to ask the question, should they really be collecting all this data on us? Why are we being data mined? Are we okay with it? I had some blood work a couple of weeks ago, and they asked for all this stuff, sign this, do this, and I wrote on there, not to be shared with the government in any form in any government database with my identifying information or without it, period. Now, it's a small thing out there. I understand that, and they'll probably look at it and say, what the hell is this, and throw it in the garbage. But if just the people in the sound of my voice here would do that, I think that they'd stop collecting the data eventually, or they'd have to have a law forcing them to collect it. So what are the highlights here? So 4 highlights. In the Northeast, in 2023, in the Northeast, the healthcare and social assistance sector, NAICS 62, employed 5 million workers with a total annual payroll of $302.4 billion. The finance and insurance sector generated $1.8 trillion in revenue. In the Midwest, there were 4 million manufacturing sector employees. The retail trade sector generated $1.4 trillion in revenue. And the education services sector total annual payroll was $4.9 billion. In the South, the professional and scientific and technical services sector generated almost $1 trillion, just shy of it. The retail trade sector had an annual payroll of $238.8 billion and employed 6.8 million people in 2023. In the West, there were 1.4 million employees in the information sector. The accommodation and food services sector generated $367 billion in revenue with an annual payroll of $110.7 billion. I guess, for some people and for some statistics, this is used for like loans and for economic data to prove what a good job the government's doing and things of that nature. I get it with this. But at a certain point, why are they data mining this? Why are they asking this? And I'm sure, there are other, there's a lot of data here and there. Used to divide a lot of people, right? With this. Also today, Business Trends and Outlook Survey release. The Business Trends and Outlook Survey, a survey that measures business conditions projections on an ongoing basis. The BTOS includes data for multi-unit and multi-location businesses. And BTOS sample consists of 1.2 million businesses with biweekly collection data that will be asked to report every 12 weeks for a year. Census Bureau estimates it takes the actual average respondent approximately 9 minutes to complete the survey, including the time for reviewing the instructions and answers. I think that that's not accurate. Data will be released bi-weekly and available. I got one of these one time. It took me a couple hours to freaking go through. And I had to get other people involved, which cost time and money. Data will be released bi-weekly and available by sector, state, everything. Survey results give local, state, and federal officials essential real-time data to aid in policy making and decision making. Right, it gives them the data, but do they actually make good policies and decisions with the data? And who's watching them? Nobody, right? Nobody apparently. I mean, I should bookmark that just because it's such a, wonderfully, that last statement was wonderful that they made. They supply the data. Yeah, but nobody does shit with it. Uninsured rates down in 194 counties, up in 85 counties. The rate of individuals in the United States under the age of 65 without health insurance decreased. 194 counties had increased in 85 counties between 2022 and 2023, according to small area health insurance estimates released today by the U.S. Census Bureau. Again, this tool allows users to create and download state and county custom tables, thematic maps, and time trend charts for different geographic levels and demographic groups, available annually from 2006 to 2023. Right. Working age women have lower estimated uninsured rates than working age men. The median county uninsured rate for working age adults living at or below 138% of poverty was 17.7%, down from 18.6% in 2022 and 20.3%. And I guess things are going better. I don't know. Great data to have, but nobody seems to do anything with it. Here you go. This is from the FDA today. FDA requires major changes to opioid pain medication labeling to emphasize risks. U.S. Food and Drug Administration is requiring safety labeling changes. All opioid pain medications better emphasize and explain the risks associated with their long-term risk. These changes follow a public advisory committee meeting in May that reviewed reviewed data showing serious risks such as misuse and addiction and both fatal and non-fatal overdoses for patients who use opioids over long periods. The death of almost 1 million Americans during the opioid epidemic has been one of the cardinal failures of the public health establishment. The long overdue labeling change is only part of what needs to be done. Labeling changes will include the following: clearer risk information, dose warnings, clarified use limits, treatment guidance, safe discontinuation, overdose reversal agents, drug interactions, more risk with overdose, and digestive health. Right. Here we have one from the other day. HHS demands that Duke University address systemic allegations of race discrimination. I guess Columbia, they were successful with Columbia, now they're going after Duke. Today, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services demand that Duke University cooperate with the federal government to investigate and address serious allegations of systemic racial discrimination permeating the operations of Duke University's School of Medicine and other components of Duke Health. HHS requested Duke's cooperation through a joint letter from Robert F. Kennedy. Let's get that letter. I always laugh. It's a joint letter. Does that mean it have anything to do with marijuana? It's a joint. So this is a letter to Vincent Price. You got to be kidding me. Vincent Price. I'm sure he got his spot, right? I'm sure he had a rough childhood. With that name, man. Dear President Price et al., the United States invests in medical care and research because of the sacredness of human life and value human health. Medical profession is a calling, one distinguished by the clarity of its purpose and inestimable value of its mission. The people of the United States government stand behind that mission. Racial preferences in hiring, student admissions, governance, patients' care, and other operations betray that mission and endanger human rights. There's arguably no, I'm not saying I agree with this, I'm just reading a letter here. There's arguably no other area of our educational system where the rejection of merit is more dangerous than in medicine, where the competence of doctors means the difference between life and death for patients, and where scientific discovery is the difference between life-saving cures and the ravages of disease. This vile racism carries a host of excuses and hides behind a snug superiority that benefited races cannot compete under merit-based consideration. Like all racism, affirmative action undermines America's commitment to merit-based justice and violates the nation's civil rights laws. In the medical context, this illegal preferencing also breaks faith with patients, hinders medical discovery, and jeopardizes human health. Allegations have been brought forth the intention of United States Department of Education and Department of Health and Human Services that Duke University Medicine and other components of Duke Health are engaged in practices that, if true, would violate Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Sections 1557 of the Affordable Care Act and render Duke Health unfit for any further financial relationship with the federal government. These practices allegedly include illegal and wrongful racial preferences and discriminatory activity in recruitment, student admissions, scholarship and financial aid, mentoring and enrichment programs, hiring, promotion, and more. All right, and going on. What's the request? Review all policies and practices at Duke Health for the illegal use of race preferences. Take immediate action to reform all those that unlawfully take into account race or ethnicity to bestow benefits or advantages. Provide clear, verifiable assurances to the government that Duke's new policies will be implemented faithfully going forward, including by making all necessary organizational, leadership, and personnel changes to ensure the necessary reforms will be durable. Right, and they have 6 months to act on this, apparently, and racism is a scourge when practiced by individuals, but it's especially corrosive when enshrined in the nation's most eminent and respected institutions. Its oversight bodies tasked with enforcing federal civil rights law and incentivizing excellence at our universities, departments of education, and HHS will not fail to speedily address violations of law and justice. Accordingly, we request that you immediately acknowledge receipt of this letter within 10 business days of receipt, and that you decide whether you will form the Merit and Civil Rights Committee that they're requesting. Thank you in advance, and is signed Robert Kennedy and Linda McMahon for that. Wow. The stuff that's on these websites, right? During the Trump administration, and this is a reading from the press release, during the Trump administration's second term, HHS OCR has initiated 7 other investigations, such as medical schools and hospitals under federal civil rights laws to promote merit-based opportunity, and has announced a Dear Colleague letter to medical schools. Right? The department advised medical schools to ensure their policies and procedures comply with existing federal civil rights laws, discontinuing criteria, tools, or processes that serve as substitutes for race or are intended to advance race-based decision-making, and any reliance on third-party contractors, clearinghouses, or data aggregators that engage in prohibited uses of race. Right, as part of its enforcement, OCR articulates in a letter that I'm just reading this, folks, that it will prioritize investigations of institutions that use race as part of their application or employment processes, require DEI statements in connection with hiring or promotion, or lack clear policies demonstrating compliance with Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard, which is a recent Supreme Court case on here. Tell you what, stuff's happening. For Safety Wars and Safety FM, this is Jim Posel. I hope to be back here tomorrow. You got 3 programs this week. That's not so bad. I hope to see you folks. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. For Safety Wars is Jim Posel.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.